I don't know if you guys heard about this crazy thing that was in the news a few weeks ago, but at the Oscars, Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith. Crazy that nobody's talking about this. Anyways, because of it, a whole bunch of people are mad at him and he's basically been ostracized from Hollywood. So here are 10 celebrities who will never work with Will Smith again. Coming in at number 10 on our list is Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow is an actress who was extremely outspoken about her reaction to the ill-fated Oscars night. After it happened, she took to Twitter to post, quote, "It was just a joke. Jokes are what Chris Rock does. Always has been edgy. This was a mild joke for him, and I love G.I. Jane. What I saw was one of Hollywood's most powerful movie stars stalking onto a stage to strike a comedian for an unfortunate joke about his gorgeous wife's shaved head. Anyone who is okay with that has probably never been hit by a powerful man. As we advise our kids, use your words." A lot of people in the comments to her post were duking it out, with some people equating alopecia to cancer, and others saying that Will Smith should be jailed for slapping Chris. My favorite reply was someone linking another tweet saying, quote, "It's actually not funny at all. Will Smith could have killed him with that slap. What if his hand had been full of bees and Chris Rock was allergic to bees and one of the bees stung Chris and nobody had an EpiPen? Not funny now, is it?" Next up is Howard Stern, who had a whole show planned before he decided to scrap it all and focus on the Oscars incident instead. Quote, "Well, I had a whole show planned, but I gotta throw that out because I want to vent about this Oscars thing that occurred. The blunt reporter certainly held nothing back and did in fact vent quite readily about the whole situation. Quote, "This is a sign of great mental illness when you can't control your impulse. Not only that, it was hardly an insulting joke. It wasn't even a good joke." It may be safe to say that Howard Stern wasn't too fond of Will Smith after the headline made the incident. He even compared Will to former US President Donald Trump. He also criticized the Academy's handling of the situation, including the lack of security taking action. While there have been mixed reports on whether or not Will Smith was asked to leave the ceremony following the slap, the star still went onto stage to collect his award for Best Actor mere moments later. Howard Stern was upset that no one seemed to care and even cheered for him once he won the award. Quote, "Will Smith harmed another human being, and you guys did nothing." Another celebrity who will definitely never work with Will Smith is Judd Apatow. Probably the most embarrassing set of tweets to come out of the whole Oscars slap situation were Judd Apatow's, which are since deleted. Although he was one of the first people to call out Will Smith for his behavior, some think that he took it way too far. Judd wrote on Twitter, quote, "He could have killed him. That's pure out-of-control rage and aggression." After he received pushback for the tweet, the 40-year-old Virgin director elaborated his viewpoints on the SiriusXM pop culture spotlight. He admitted that he wasn't actually watching the Oscars when he took to Twitter, but was instead informed of the incident while on the phone with a friend. That being said, he did stick by his statements about Will Smith in other interviews. Quote, "As soon as that line is crossed, really anything can happen. That's what happened, but something else could have happened too." Judd also told Pop Culture Spotlight, quote, "I just think there certainly is a way of handling dissatisfaction. We should never tell people that the solution is to break that barrier and leap on the stage and commit an act of harm in front of people who are inspired by you." Coming in at number 7, Rosie O'Donnell. Not unlike Howard Stern's take, Rosie O'Donnell also had a problem with how the Academy Award organizers handled the situation. Clearly, Rosie was signing off to Team Chris Rock when she tweeted out, quote, "So upsetting on every level. Bravo to Chris Rock for not eviscerating Will Smith, which he could do any day of the week. He walked away. Bravo from a sad display of toxic masculinity from a narcissistic madman. If only they would take it into the ring, then we could truly see who is eviscerating who." In addition to making it clear that she believed Chris Rock could demolish Smith in, I guess, a battle of comedic minds, Rosie also heavily criticized the Academy for their initial response to the entire situation. In a separate tweet written in response to a statement released by the organization about not condoning violence, she asked, quote, "Then why did you do nothing?" O'Donnell didn't stop there. She also spent quite a bit of time retweeting messages from her friends and other Twitter users that all condemn Will Smith's actions and praise Chris Rock for not acting in retaliation. Kathy Griffin is up next as someone who likely won't work with Will Smith based on how she reacted to the Oscars, having very clearly sided with Chris Rock in this situation. She tweeted out, quote, "Let me tell you something. It's a very bad practice to walk up on stage and physically harm a comedian. Now we all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs and theaters." It's perhaps extremely unsurprising that Griffin, who herself loves to push the boundaries of comedy, would side with Chris Rock in this situation and be more concerned about the safety of comedians after seeing Chris Rock get slapped over a joke. Given her own controversies of inciting violence against former President Donald Trump that landed her in trouble with the Secret Service, we weren't surprised to see that she got some pushback from her tweets about being kind to one another. Next up is comedian Jim Carrey. It's unlikely any comedian in general will side with Will Smith considering the precedents it sets. But while touring for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Jim Carrey was asked about his reaction to Will Smith getting on stage and hitting Chris. The comedian had this to say. Quote, I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless en masse. And it really felt like this is a real clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time. If you want to yell from the audience or disapprove or show disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words. Next up is Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. He has always been extremely outspoken on Twitter, and the Oscars slap incident was no exception. The night of the incident, he tweeted, quote, stand-up comics are very adept at handling hecklers. Physical harm, not so much. Okay, I abbreviated this because I'm not allowed to say a lot of words due to our feudal lords at YouTube, but you get the idea. The tweet left a heated debate in the comments, with one user writing, quote, Chris Rock was wrong. Mocking Jada's medical condition, especially on stage in front of hundreds of people, is despicable. I don't blame Will for getting upset or for doing what he did. While another user wrote, quote, you can't just harm people. Even if someone says something part of being an adult is understanding that you can't just hit people. I like Will Smith and I have compassion for his wife, but he was wrong to hit Chris Rock. Coming in at number 3 is Janet Hubert. Janet Hubert has had beef with Will Smith that predates the Oscars, thank God, all the way back to the 90s when she worked alongside him in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She played Aunt Viv for 3 seasons before their beef led to her being replaced in 1993. She told HuffPost decades later, quote, my departure was planned for a long time. There will never be a reunion for The Fresh Prince. Will Smith and Alfonso destroyed a 20-year career with untruths. I got slammed. Will apologized later in an Essence magazine article, but it still lingers. It's still there. Apparently, the beef started when Smith refused to vouch for Hubert when she wanted a pay raise and a contract renegotiation. Meanwhile, tons of rumors circulated that she was notoriously extremely difficult to work with, which derailed her career and she never really recovered from it. That being said, they did have a tentative truce when Will invited her onto the Fresh Prince reunion that she earlier said would never happen. Although I doubt she'd go through filming anything with him again. Next up is Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock. Absolutely no surprise that he comes to his sibling's defense. Airing his frustrations on a stand-up set a few days after the Oscar slap incident, Tony stated, quote, if you think you're gonna walk up on this stage, this ain't the Oscars. And if you walk your ass up here, you ain't nominated for but these hands. As the crowd cheered, Tony took it a step further, adding, quote, I didn't want to start the show like that. You're gonna hit my brother. Tony also made it clear on Twitter after Will Smith apologized to Chris that he does not accept the apology on his brother's behalf by stating, quote, no, when asked if he forgave him. Last but certainly not least is Chris Rock, who was the recipient of the slap in question. Interestingly, he said absolutely nothing about the slap and has kept extremely quiet. He's currently on tour and has made zero mention of the incident, although I'm sure he could have gotten away with a few digs considering that most people took his side. But that being said, I doubt he'd be running to star alongside Will Smith in any comedy anytime soon. Well guys, that's all I've got for today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe. See ya.